He's back. How are you, mate?
Down for round 2. This is our top 10. Hi, actually, proper introduction. Hello, I'm Jason from Digital Darkroom, and this is Creative Corners. What we're going to do today is just run around a few top tips for 2021 with Glenn Marvin from Connector, because he's taken his time, an hour aside today, to sort of just share what he thinks, some of the things that could be super helpful that you could be doing, as soon as tomorrow or after this video, to help next year.
Absolutely. And look, digital marketing coaching, so I'll be coming from that perspective. I'm sure if there is an accountant, they would have a different top 10 tips.
It is totally true. The thing about Creative Corners is I go into these little corners. This guy is that. Next will be copy. Before that was entrepreneurship. And we'll be doing design and a whole bunch of stuff. But for now, we're going to concentrate on digital marketing and also the world of action, right?
Yeah, and SME. I love talking, while I do consulting with larger businesses and things like that, the reality is we got over 300,000 small to medium-sized businesses in New Zealand.
Yeah, so if you're a large business, like what you can do with this video is share it to small businesses and, also go, hi, these guys exist.
I'd like to think that there's a couple of things you might be able to get out of it as well.
Right, so the first tip for, from the top of your...
My first few tips are probably good old chestnuts that most people should know, but the beautiful thing about things that you should be doing is the core things that everybody should be doing, most people should know about, they just bloody don't. So, number one.
So they don't know about it, or
they just don't do?
Oh, so you're saying they know it?
Oh, I know that.
Yeah, so you know it, but you're not doing it. Okay, cool.
Number one, invest in yourself. Invest in your physical health, your mental health, because if you don't have those, again, good old chestnut, right? And it might sound corny, but if you don't have them, you are walking into your office, you are starting your day behind the 8 ball, and those that are clear of mind and in good health will eat you up over time.
I mean, that's quite a holistic thing to say. We're talking about business, we're talking about small business, but these small businesses are made of human beings. These human beings need to look after their well-being, and there's different things that you can do to sort of facilitate that. And you're not a personal trainer, but my God, I've got the personal trainer for you guys.
Yeah, and then with investing in yourself, it's you shouldn't stop learning. So whether it's investing in your skills, reading books, doing courses, you should never stop trying to level up. And when you want to level up, relationships is the other thing that you should be investing in as well. So it's all under the invest in yourself. So if you want to get to that next level in regards to your business, who are those people that you're hanging around with today?
It's your top 5 people. Yeah. I mean, one of the reasons I love doing these sorts of things is I get to drink from the well of people who know a lot more about that. That's one of the things I love about filmmaking full stop, is I'm constantly curious. I'm going in and researching these gorgeous neck of the woods and then reflecting that beauty back, and it's always learning stuff. So the more you put yourself around people who know more than you and excite you and get you motivated and bring value to them as well, it's just a no-brainer. So that's number one: invest in yourself, get connected with good people.
And the second one is the other one, that's the good old chestnut, which is set goals and have a plan. The structure sets you free, and that's in more ways than one, with not just having a plan, but we underestimate what we're capable of achieving in the long term, and we completely overestimate what we can achieve in the short term. Even today, I still look at my 90 days. I'm big on planning in 90-day blocks, and probably I would say 3 out of 4 90-day blocks we will fall short of the plan.
Yeah.
But that translates over a 2 to 3 year period. We end up crushing our 3-year goal, because I still look at what we can achieve in 3 years and go, oh no, that sounds too big.
Yeah.
And I'll dial it back.
Yeah.
So dial up what you can achieve in the long term, dial back what you can achieve in the short term, and make it absolutely hyper-specific, manageable chunks.
So first, be honest about like getting the things that you know that you need to get done. Make sure you got a good base, and then have a really good plan that is attainable. That you're outlined. And it's not a bad idea to get somebody to look over that and go, hey, are you really prioritizing? It's a little bit like with filmmaking, you cut out the darlings. You think that the film's going to be this story, and then when you get it all there, you're like, actually, no, it just needs to be this. And so doing that, prioritizing, consolidating your sort of list, and then going, these are the priorities that I need to put out now.
And if it's not something that you're used to doing, get somebody to help you a few times until you've nailed the process.
Yeah.
It's worth the investment, trust me.
Yeah. It'll build that momentum. Talking about momentum, segue to number 3.
Big on this at the moment. There's so much negativity out there, and it's be the beacon of light in the sea of darkness, right? It's going to sound really corny, but like moths to a flame, people are attracted to positivity, and so
that's Janet Jackson, guys. He's just quoted Janet Jackson. I'm sorry about that.
Is it?
Go ahead.
Is it seriously?
I'm literally messing with you. Go on. It really is.
I didn't have a little moment.
No, it's fine.
On
It's
stage.
fine. No, it's fine.
But I mean, honestly, the amount of business that we tend to pick up in times of recession and tough times is ridiculous, because we focus on creating positive messaging, giving value away, showing people an alternative way of actually doing things that is measurable and accountable and all that sort of stuff. But the underlying tone around virtually all the messaging that we put out into the market is positivity.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how hard things are, when you stop and take a breath, you cannot change the past.
No.
Choose how you react and how you respond to the moment, and then the path forward becomes clearer.
And I mean, guys, we all sort of know that, like, if we do just react rather than respond in business, then it's no bueno. It's not ideal. So you make a really good point with that. We'll move on to number 4.
Yeah. And that's really just around being totally hyper-specific on your messaging. I've touched on this before. Know exactly who it is that's in your target market.
What language they speak, right?
What it is you need to be saying to them. The problems that you're solving, being able to clearly articulate the process that they need to follow when they engage with you, and make that process absolutely simple for them. It doesn't matter if there are 137 moving parts in the background. If you make that process simple, so to work with Connector, it's a simple 3-step process. We have a meeting, we sort out your marketing action plan, and we start taking frickin' action.
Yeah. So I mean, that's just streamlining your processes once you've got that like absolutely clear. And that's something for 2021 that everybody can be going into, because they've sort of repositioned different versions of that, looked at who they can be benefiting, what problem they're solving, and now bringing those new solutions in so that you can just go boom. And I mean, we'll just kick back to it very quickly. Regional Business Partnership has a situation happening. Maybe you can tell us a quick bit about that.
So up until October, there was the COVID-19 fund where businesses could get up to $5,000 funded, 100% of work that was done.
This is for like automating your marketing, giving yourself business plans,
all sorts of stuff.
Specialty stuff to really help people who've been affected.
Time of production, like now, that's closed off.
Yeah.
That's not saying that they may not open it up again post-election, or
it's been tapped out twice. This is the second time it's been tapped out, so they'll probably fill it up potentially later on after the election.
My advice is still apply. The more people that apply, this shows demand, and where there's demand.
Cool. So if you haven't applied, you can jump on it. There'll be a link potentially at the bottom of this video as well.
I might get in trouble for saying that. Never mind.
Doesn't
matter.
Okay.
But no matter what, if you aren't already registered with the Regional Business Partner Program, get on there and get in and get signed up, because there is the Management Capability Fund, of which they can fund up to $5,000 every single year towards your business, up to 50% of whatever it is that you're working on. And there are a whole bunch of different criteria, but I know I've stuck my hand up, and even with us within our business, we make the most out of that fund as well, and we get advice and support
Yeah.
for our business to help us grow. And it's designed to help increase your capability within the business. So if you can do more stuff yourself, it's going to reduce the amount of money that you're going to need to be spending on outside consultants and agencies and things like that in the future. So paying 50% of it to get upskilled so that you can do stuff yourself, it's a bit of a no-brainer. And if the government's going to give you up to $5,000, I have to say the up to word,
It does.
then it's a no-brainer, really.
Cool. So we'll move on to number 5 after that little plug for the regional business service. But it's a good thing. So I think it's warranted to chuck it in there.
I touched on this before. Plan your content.
Oh yeah. So
Again,
execution after. Yeah.
The planning around that, the structure sets you free. And I'll give you a very, very quick example of that. So if you just think about social media, right, as an example, and it'll be the same for you with filming,
stuff, yep,
all of that sort of stuff. If you create the plan, and if you know that next Tuesday you need to create a social media post about X, already subconsciously you're thinking about what's going to go into it.
Yeah.
And when you nail the fundamentals and you nail the structure about it and you know sort of the framework of what you're going to produce, then when it comes to actually delivering and creating that content, it's going to free you up to be more creative. You're not going to have to waste time thinking about it.
Yeah, so I mean, really, for instance, like I always do top tips. It's just my thing. It's real simple. Like most people enjoy it. So like this is an extension of that. I write them down. They're about video. It's sort of helpful. So I do that once a week. And you know what? It's nice. People like it. I like the process of it. And all of those tips, all of that processing that I'm writing down, because I spend an hour curating this because I'm dyslexic as hell to get that, I can make videos from those. So they're there. I can put them on a blog post.
Yep.
There's so many things that I can do with that content, but also it's really that discipline. When you do have that structure, you're going, what do I want to get really good at?
Yeah.
So you can choose your content and go, I want to get really good at, say, I don't know, talking to people about tips, or potentially talking to the camera about whatever. It's up to you. I mean,
so we have an incredibly simple content planning framework that we take all of our clients through, and even in the first month or two, it takes under an hour, probably 30 to 45 minutes, to plan an entire month's worth of content if they wanted to post at minimum once a day during the week.
Yeah.
So it's actually 27 pieces of content. They can map the entire lot out in under an hour. And we're down to the point now where it probably takes me 20 minutes, 25 minutes to map an entire month's worth of content out.
And the thing is, once you've got that done, you set it up and then you just knock it out. And then, like post-production's no problem because it's just done. And then you've got your whole month sussed and sorted. And that's sort of key. I mean, the biggest foobar in that is not knowing what you're trying to say, who you're going to say to that, and in the language. If you don't know that, then what are you doing? What are you doing?
But if you've already nailed number 4, which is being hyper-specific about your messaging and who you're talking to, then the content is much easier because you've already got the voice in regards to the voice that you need to be using, the subjects that you need to be talking about. And then all you really need to be focusing on is being hyper-specific about the actual topic of that blog post or that social media post or whatever it is that you're producing.
Nice. So we're on to number 6.
It's really a segue into 6, and that's consistency. Consistency is absolutely critical. If you're one of these fly-by-nighters and you start and you stop and you start and you stop, it's actually a reflection of how you work and how you operate and how you do business. So
it's a little bit like if you've got a messy room. It's a little bit like if you don't do the dishes. It's like one of those things. So even if you're feeling like a little bit blue,
do the shoes match the belt?
Yeah. Rather than the carpet and the drapes.
We won't go there. So consistency, walk the talk, ensure that it's across multiple platforms if we're talking about social media and things like that. So, whatever platforms your audience is on, make sure you're across all of them. And there is, in this day and age, trust me, consistency is more important than variety. So don't worry too much about making it all that different between LinkedIn and Facebook and things like that. The fact that it's there, the old days they used to talk about
Yeah,
5
different
to 7.
different verticals having different languages. But if you understand who your clients are and that they're looking at you on these different verticals at different times to get that omnipresence, really it's just a matter of going, okay, I want to get my language sussed around the problem that I'm solving for my clients, and that's just going to go out across the whole, YouTube,
Totally.
Facebook, all of
And
that
I
sort
would
of
go
thing.
one step further and say not only consistency but frequency.
Yeah.
Back in the old days, they used to say it takes 5 to 7 exposures for somebody to choose to use your brand. That, believe it or not, folks, is now 18 to 20 times. So if you're posting once a week and only 10% of your audience actually see what you post, it's going to take them 18 to 20 weeks if they saw it every time.
Yeah, so
Multiply
that's
that by 10.
Yeah, I get it. So it's that numbers game.
So if you're only producing one piece of content once a week, it might not even be worth it, right? Just get out and start selling because your inbound marketing strategy isn't working. So frequency and consistency are actually critical. But when you get in the practice and when you get in the flow, God damn it, it's worth it.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to move on to lucky number 7.
Go with value first. Look, I've built sales teams and I love selling, but I would much rather create a buyer. So when you lead with value first, when you provide value up front, how cool is it when people are looking at that and going, shit, if you're giving this away for free, what am I going to get when I pay for it?
Yeah.
All right, your service must be freaking amazing if you're giving this away.
Yeah.
And then you find that, number one, leads start coming inbound, and number two, the people that you start talking to are much easier to sell to because they can see the value that you provide right up front. It's not smoke and mirrors.
Yeah. Look, I'll give you guys a little tip on that. Personally, myself, I always find it's like, if there's an area that I want to grow in, right, I'll set up these little projects and they'll take maybe an afternoon a week, something like this, right, where I'm able to sort of just concentrate on breaking through and adding value. Now you do that and not only do you have the freedom to learn without a huge amount of expectation, but you also, you go, okay, I'm not so attached to this way of getting it done. And so you make these incremental changes that you wouldn't otherwise do if you weren't doing it for free, if you weren't giving it away. And then you might find you actually might have a different offering that's totally and utterly wicked that you would never have known that even existed.
Yep.
If you catch my drift.
Totally.
So, all right. So, I mean, a translatable thing for that might be if you're in the, say, digital marketing space, you guys offer
We give away SEO training, we give away content creation frameworks, we give away stuff all the time. I'm constantly doing videos, giving people tips, tricks, advice.
Yep. And then the goods of what he's actually got, which he charges for, that is worth the money. But like it's part and parcel of it. So Glenn's walking his talk. We're shooting our talk now, quite literally, and we're going to segue on to number 8.
Yeah. 8. And 8 and 9 have gone both.
They've merged, yeah.
Both with marketing sides of it in regards to tip, and search engine optimization.
SEO.
Oh my God, people freak out, right? It's all smoke and mirrors. I don't get it, don't understand it. It costs so much. Don't go into search engine optimization thinking that it is all this techno babble that it just costs too much, takes too much time, and it's too difficult. If you have the mindset that I just need to be less crap than my competition, sounds strange, it will work. If you think about it like this, if Google is in essence comparing you to your competition in regards to what you've got on your site, the sorts of things that you're saying, what other people are saying about you with reviews and things like that, and it's going, well, I can only base my recommendation in regards to the rankings on the information that's in front of me. So if all you do is just stay one little step ahead of your competition, then you're going to rank above them.
Rank that.
So just be less than crap than your competition, and you'll be ahead of them.
Nice. So I mean that's kind of like the crux of SEO. My understanding of SEO, is it's voodoo and dark magic, but really it's just words on the internet. And so there's many ways to get those on there. If you're getting like articles written in a paper about you, then that's going to be really cool. If somebody's
Yep.
like blogging, that's really cool. And that's where you can sort of look at some of the earlier things we talked about, planning content and going, hey, maybe I'll turn some of this video content into a blog post, and that will help me rank higher in my SEO because you're just reusing
Yep.
that content.
Yeah. So there's three core pillars. There's technical, there's content, right, and then there's links.
Yeah.
Right. Don't worry
Boom,
about trying
boom,
to chase the
boom.
links. If you do good content and you got the right technical stuff and you're adding value and you're sharing stuff regularly, the links will probably come.
Yeah.
But it's focus on the first two. Technically, make sure your website performs well, and make sure you got good content.
Excellent. So we're on to number 9, which is merged in with the marketing.
Yeah, LinkedIn.
Oh yeah,
I love LinkedIn.
does.
Now,
This is on LinkedIn. We put this on LinkedIn, so you know,
If-
like we love this platform. You're watching this on LinkedIn.
if I could say to you, I'm going to give you two analogies. Number one,
You're probably watching this on Facebook too, maybe.
doesn't matter. Facebook's great, but LinkedIn is better when it comes to B2B business development, when it comes to inbound marketing.
Yeah, and
And
that's that language. That's that language you talk about. You're going, if you are a small business and you need to get your message in front of other small businesses, cool. If you're a small business and you want to go out to the public world, then Facebook. You know, that's why this sort of video would be on LinkedIn for me, because I want people who are in businesses, small businesses,
Yeah.
to appreciate that sort of stuff.
You don't just post it on one. I mean, you're going to post
You
it on
get it
both,
in-
but
you
I
get
can-
it all
I can
out
guarantee.
there.
I can guarantee you that the organic reach of any video that you produce will get much more engagement and go a lot further on LinkedIn than it will on Facebook.
So does, guys. So does.
So if I said to you that if you invested an hour a day in strategic work on LinkedIn, that you could write a check for yourself for $250,000 a year, would you do it? It's marketing work. It's not social media. It's not surfing the net. If you are strategic with your approach and you treat it like this is my marketing activity and I'm going to spend an hour a day, is an hour a day, if you worked an hour a day, 40 weeks a year, whatever, and I said to write a check for $250,000, would you do it? I guarantee you virtually every single small business would.
Yeah, it's a genius. It's a genius point. You can see he really believes in this, and it's probably because a good percentage of your success could be attributed to how seriously you took LinkedIn early on.
Yeah.
When Gary Vee was not even talking about, maybe whispering about it, you were like, I'm in there, and I'm going to take my version of me and put that into the New Zealand market. So
Yeah.
I see your fundamentals there.
Yeah.
It's like,
So
it's
think about
clear.
LinkedIn as a bar.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
If
the
you
old pub
could-
analogy.
If you could walk into a bar and it had every single business owner, CEO, marketing manager, whoever it is that's the decision maker in that business that's going to write a check out and engage your services, you could rock up to the tables that they're at. You could listen to the conversations that they're having. You could chip in occasionally and add some value to those
It's a
conversations.
seat at the table, guys. And if you rock in looking all messy and shabby and like you're a bit pissed, then you're not really going to have a great time in that analogy. But if you take the time with your profile to really set your banner right, get your story correct, understand all of the aspects of who and what it is that you present, really look at it as that marketing situation.
Yeah.
It's really going to benefit you.
And this is where engagement is really important as well, right? So
click it in.
if all you did was walk into that bar and you were standing at the bar and occasionally all you would do was
Like this, like
but if all you did was stand at the bar and
occasionally.
look at those guys at that table and every now and then go,
Good on you, yeah.
they're not going to invite you to the table.
Yeah.
But if you actually added some value to that conversation occasionally, you'd get invited to that table. And then after a while of having those conversations at that table, one of those guys is probably going to go, tell you what, why don't you come around to the office at some stage, because I'd really love to float this idea by you.
So this is active listening is something that a lot of people just could really benefit from, because we're all about monologues. So the idea of you actively listening to the people that you really want to mess with, and then really looking at what do I have to offer, around this sort of conversation and taking that as just a discipline and just going, okay, I'm just going to do this for a little while. Muy bueno.
Yeah.
Like really good.
So the relationships is where the money's at. LinkedIn isn't where the money's at. The whole idea around the strategy with LinkedIn is to take those online connections and form real world relationships.
And then inside of that, we can see how things work out. But really, it's that. So that's number 9. We're nearly at number 10. Just by the way, here's a plug. Glenn's got a great LinkedIn 30-day thing.
LinkedIn training program.
Yeah, and so that's a thing as well. So if you just want a little bit of structure around that's there. It's good. Okay, so number 10.
Simplest and easiest thing. Imperfect action beats procrastination in the strive for perfection every single time. It's all good and well thinking and talking and planning. Just bloody do it, right?
Yeah.
And taking action. The more you take action, that consistency of that imperfect action actually leads to competency.
Yeah.
Right? And then that competency will give you more confidence. And that confidence will lead to even faster action. And it doesn't matter if you don't get it right all the time. And in fact, if you are focusing on perfection, it's going to take you a lot longer and you're not going to get it right. You actually learn more from the little mistakes that you make, and you get better. You get much better at a faster rate.
That's where, in essence, it's, come up with that plan, rubber on the road, go for it. Then take that time to think, could I have done that better? Take those 2 days a month or whatever, or once a week just to spend for an hour, and then take the lessons and then go at it again and go at it again. And when you do, it's just the momentum that comes off that's just...
While I'm a massive fan of having a plan, right, you still need to have a little bit of a ready, fire, aim mentality.
Yeah. It's
the plan may not be right. I've got to start executing, and then when I'm finding things aren't quite right, then I can iterate and get things honed.
Look, just with films or commercials and stuff like that, we'll always start with a decent sort of we know what we're going to do, right? But there's just things that pop up which are super cool that really just kind of go, okay, actually this is going to work better in the real world once you start to put the rubber on the road. So don't be afraid to get in amongst it and go, okay, that plan was good, but this is actually working out better if I shift into this mode for that, So that's a great one to sort of end on. Yeah, all right. Guys, thanks for tuning in. I think this was about 30 minutes. Thanks if you watched it all the way through to the end. That's great. We'll be back next week with Luke from Biz Story, Luke Ryan. Glenn Marvin, one last little sort of see you guys later.
Thanks for taking the time out of your days, guys, because I know how busy people can be right now. Have a great one.